iOS 19 is going to change everything, from all new software features to a totally redesigned look that we did not get since iOS 7 release. So Apple is finally giving us what we are waiting for, but there is a catch. Let's dive in. So just in 2 months at WWDC event, we are going to get the first look at iOS 19 redesigned look. And this time it's not just the minor design updates. The whole iOS 19 update is going to look totally different than what we used to get. Similar to what we got during iOS 7 update, which was completely different than iOS 6 and the previous updates. So this time Apple is deciding to give their iPhone a kind of an opaque glass look, which is probably going to look a lot like what we have in Vision Pros right now. And personally, I really like how that look, and it just looks really modern and new compared to what we have, which is just black or white. So similar to Vision Pros, whenever you're going to open any native Apple apps on your iPhone, it's not going to have either black or white color. All the apps, including settings and other apps, is going to have this semi-transparent look. So whatever wallpaper that you set in your iPhone, you're probably going to see a semi-transparent of that in all the apps that you're going to open. And not just that, according to all the rumors and leaks, we are also going to get a redesigned look of the app icons, where the previous one was kind of semi-square with the rounded shape on each corner. But this time in iOS 19, Apple is deciding to go all circular, similar to Vision Pro again. Alright, that was just the overview of all the new design upgrades that we are getting in iOS 19. Now let's talk about the new features that we are going to get. And you probably already guessed it, is going to be Apple Intelligence. And if you've been following Apple news recently, Apple just delayed all the new Siri upgrades with Apple Intelligence to a much later in this year, which makes sense that iOS 19 is going to get those updates, and probably not even this year. I can assume it's probably going to get during like 19.4 update as well. And honestly, I don't really know how many people actually care about, because personally, I'm not actually using all the new Apple Intelligence features, at least yet. So if you ask me, I don't really care if it gets delayed or get released tomorrow. It's not really making a huge difference in my life, at least for now, that I have to care about. So I'm curious, do you actually use Apple Intelligence features in your iPhones or not? Let me know in the comments. Okay, next is the live translate with AirPods, which means that once we get iOS 19, some of the AirPods models such as AirPods 4, AirPods Pro 2 or Max will get this new update where you would be able to hear live translation if you're talking to someone in a different language. So for example, it's supposed to work something like this. If you are speaking English and you are talking to someone who is speaking Spanish, then you can hear the live translation if you have your AirPods on yourself. And it's vice versa for a person who speaks Spanish and have AirPods on too. And this feature is going to be really cool to test out as well, because let's say if I'm going into subway and I'm just standing there, and if someone starts speaking in Spanish, I'm not trying to be nosy or anything, but I just want to test this feature and see if it's going to translate everything live to me so I can just understand what they are talking about. Next update is going to be end-to-end encryption for RCS messaging. So last year with iOS 18, Apple added this all new RCS messaging where you can text someone who is not using iPhone and they are on Android but still wants all those features that iMessage offers. By using this new RCS messaging feature, it allowed to do all of that. So it doesn't matter if you're on iMessage or not, you are still able to send messages and pictures and videos just normally how you would send someone using iMessage to iMessage. But since it was new, it was still lacking some of the new features such as this end-to-end encryption where all your messages are going to be encrypted, which is much better for security purposes. And this also means that RCS is going to get more iMessage features, which is really cool to see that Apple is finally supporting third parties and people who don't use iPhones. Now, here's the catch with all the new updates that Apple is making, especially with third-party features and non-Apple users. It's actually not really because they want to do this, but it's actually they have to do this. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, since last few years, European government is really pushing Apple to roll out all the features that potentially support third-party apps in order to enter into Apple ecosystem, just so that all the people who lives in Europe who buys Apple products have much more control over the devices that they own. Because until now, Apple is really famous to just close down their ecosystem to any third-party features. They just want to create this exclusive ecosystem that if you are into that, then you have to buy Apple product in order to use their ecosystem properly, which is nothing wrong in doing so, but Europe government doesn't buy that. And that is why they made strict policies to Apple if they want to sell their products in Europe. And the list doesn't end here because they just sent Apple a whole new list that they have to implement in order to sell their products. Some of the new features that Apple has to add in their new software updates moving forward is the third-party smartwatch must be able to display and interact with iOS notifications. So let's say if you don't want to buy Apple Watch and if you buy something from third-party company, then Apple iPhone must be able to interact with that third-party watch that you're currently wearing. Second one is really interesting because this one says that Apple must make it automatic audio switching feature available to third-party headphones, which means that what we have currently for Beats and AirPods Pro, that it connects instantly whenever you switch device from iPad to MacBook to iPhone. It's only exclusive right now to those Apple Edge 2 chips. So Europe really wants Apple to give that feature to all the third-party headphones, which is really going to boil up the competition in headphones category because a lot of people currently buying AirPods Max over any other headphones, especially because of this instant connectivity. Now the third one is Apple must make changes to iOS that allows third-party to offer equivalent AirDrop alternatives. So as you can see, even AirDrop is not left behind. And this means that if you are an Android user and you want to send something like photos or videos or documents to an iPhone user, then you're probably going to get an AirDrop support if you want to do that. Now all this update that Europe is asking Apple to make doesn't have to be instant right now. They all have different deadlines. Some of them have until the end of 2026 or even iOS 20. So they're not really in a rush, but it's really interesting to see how Apple is going to adapt to all these new updates moving forward. And in order to use these features, you don't really have to live in Europe, because last time when Europe asked for USB-C upgrade to their Apple devices, they didn't really do that just for Europe. They just pretty much did it for every country and made it universal. So I can also see that happening with all these updates as well. And if you want to know whether your iPhone is going to support this iOS 19 updates or not, then if your iPhone is newer than iPhone SE or XR or XS, then you'll be able to download this new update. And right after WWDC event reveal, we'll start getting public betas of iOS 19 in case if you want to upgrade early. And if you're curious about new iPhone 17 updates and new 17 Air that we are going to get in September, then check out this video where I go through all the new features that you should expect. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.